It's 11 a.m. here in Seoul. I'm Oh Soo-young at the Arirang News Center. We're breaking into our regular programming to bring you a live briefing from the South Korean health authorities on the coronavirus outbreak in the nation. In just a few moments, we're going to cut into the briefing at the Sejong Government Complex with simultaneous interpretation available in English. We're going to go into the briefing room now where Kim Gang-rip, overall coordinator of the Central Disaster and Safety Countermeasure Headquarters, will be sharing the latest figures and updates on the COVID-19 situation in Korea. So that's what we're about to do, and we're just going to go into the briefing room at Sejong Government Complex, and we're going to hear about the latest number of infection cases as well as the death toll, and it looks like the briefing's just about to begin.
First of all, here is Mr. Kim Gang-rip with the briefing for the coronavirus outbreak. Let us now begin our regular briefing for May 6th, Wednesday. As of today, midnight, the total number of the newly confirmed patients stand at 2, and we have a total of 1,218 people in quarantine undergoing treatment. Unfortunately, we had one more fatality, and the death toll stands at 255, with the fatality rate standing at 2.35%. Both of the new confirmed cases were reported at the airport quarantine, and they were the South Korean nationals coming from the Middle East. We had no infections of community infection throughout the past 3 days. KCC held a meeting today morning, presided over by Prime Minister HYGIENE, and we talked about the details of the social distancing in daily life and the measures to promote them to the public through the Culture Ministry. And he said that today is the first day of the social distancing in daily life, and he said that these measures are the necessary ones that need to be carried out for us to transition into our daily routines. And he continued to ask the members of the public to practice the guidelines. And he also said that many experts at home and abroad are warning of another COVID-19 outbreak in the future. And he said that centering around the municipal areas, the metropolitan areas, especially with high population, he said that we need to increase the level of cooperation among the municipalities. And today is the first day as we transition into the social distancing in daily life. The government, since the May 3rd, we have outlined the 5 everyday infection prevention rules for everyone and 4 supplementary guidelines for daily infection prevention, as well as 31 subcategory guidelines for different locations. And these include stay at home for 3 to 4 days if you are sick, keep a distance of 2 arms length between you and other people, wash your hands for 30 seconds, and ventilate your space at least twice a day. And aside from them, we also encourage the wearing of masks and disinfection, as well as the guidelines for the elderly and the high-risk population. And the basic guidelines for the community include for the facilities and the workplaces, and to designate a manager who will be in charge of quarantine measures, who will be keeping in close contact with the national health authorities. And each of these guidelines look very simple, however, they are very important and have been devised through a series of meetings with experts here at home. And these guidelines, therefore, are very important, and they are not very easy to be carried out in daily life. So we advise the public to be well disciplined and to practice the innovative ideas ideas to carry out these practices in your daily life. And the social distancing in daily life does not mean that COVID-19 has come to an end. Even though another outbreak happens in the future, our aim is to prevent another widespread cluster infection. If we can deter the spread of the COVID-19 spread, we can successfully track down the patients, and our health system could actually manage and control the system going forward, and this is our ultimate goal. The quarantine authorities, we stress that after the holiday weekend, we will be continuing and having strict monitoring of the outbreak going forward. And we ask the members of the public to be disciplined and to educate yourself on the new guidelines for social distancing in daily life. During the past weeks, we have been carrying out online briefing. However, now as we transition into the social distancing in daily life, we have returned to face-to-face briefing. And all of you who are here today are having a distance, physical distance, and all of the people here are wearing face masks. And I would like to thank you once again for your participation. Our meeting today, we dealt with the issues of how each of the ministries can carry out these practices. And today we centered around the Culture Ministry and the Labor Ministry and how they can implement these measures. The Culture Ministry said starting from May 6th, we will resume the national facilities for culture, tourism, and sports as well. And we also will resume the operations of sports games. And up until now, we had certain national hospitals, national museums and art centers and libraries, about 24 of them will now be opening their doors, and the theaters will also open for concerts, and the National Museum of Contemporary Art as well as the National Museum of Korea will be opening their doors again to the public, and they will receive reservations via online. And the National Theater of Korea as well as 4 other concert centers will also open their doors to the audiences, and we also will open the Arco as well as the Daeangno Art Centers, and we will be resuming the theater concerts there as well. And all of these performances will be carried out based on the guidelines carried out by each and every one of the municipalities. They will keep with the social distancing measures going forward, as well as the distancing among the audiences. And starting from the baseball games, we will be opening the soccer, football, as well as the women's golf in the near future without any audiences as of now, but phasally they will be opening to audiences as well. As for the sports competitions, we will be considering the local events and local conditions, and they will be abiding strictly by the quarantine guidelines. And however, the sport competitions for the students will be mulling the reopening starting from mid-May. As for local events and festivals, we will be also limiting them to a certain extent at the beginning stage of social distancing in daily life, as we did up until now. And the Culture Ministry as well as the rest of the government, we will be exerting our full efforts so that these guidelines will be stationing as our daily routine. And the Labor Ministry has provided some of the guidelines for workplaces as well as meetings, and they are also carrying out great promotions. And at the workplaces, we also have mandated the designation of a manager who will be carrying out the monitoring of the body temperatures as well as health conditions of the employees. And each of these workplaces will will be having their own guidelines, and they will be encouraged to use flexible working hours, and they will reduce the unnecessary business trips, and they will also utilize to full extent online and virtual meetings and training. And as for the small gatherings and for hobbies, they will be limiting them to a certain extent, and they will avoid also using of the multi facilities with a large number of people. And as for meetings and conferences, we will be encouraging them to have online or a virtual or teleconference. And if they need to take the face-to-face meetings, we will ask them to screen the temperatures of all the individuals who are coming to the meeting, and they will also need to abide by the physical distance as well as a ventilation going forward. And the Labor Ministry will also work closely with the employment and labor centers at each of the municipalities, and they would be giving out the leaflets for such guidelines, and they will also provide some assistance and support to work from home. And going forward, if anyone has to go on a business trip, we will be providing supplementary guidelines for them as well. And the KCC also provided 31 sub-guidelines for 12 ministries, and we will be opening our ears to the related the opinions of the related officials, and we will be giving out and disclosing a revised version at the end of May. And we will also provide guidelines and additional guidelines and supplementary guidelines for locations as well going forward. And we will also have a TF team consisting of pan-government efforts, and we will carry out frequent monitoring if needed. Today is the end of the long week of holiday, and I believe that many people have went on travels. However, if you feel sick after returning from your travels, please refrain from going to work and take a good rest at home for 3 to 4 days and monitor your conditions. If your symptoms aggravate, please do not visit the ER or the medical centers directly, but first go to the screening center or call the call center at 1339. Despite the situations here in Korea, please remember that the COVID-19 outbreak has not yet come to an end. Please comply strictly with wearing of your masks and washing of your hands, as well as coughing etiquettes. And based on such community responsibility, we ask all of the members of the public to participate in our social distancing guidelines in daily life. And if we continue to cooperate going forward, we believe that the achievement that we have achieved so far can be carried out in the future. Thank you very much.
That was a live briefing from the South Korean health authorities you just heard there, and we just heard that there were 2 additional infection cases of the COVID-19 virus, bringing the total to 10,806. And there was also, unfortunately, 1 more death, bringing the total death toll to 255. Well, that concludes our coverage of this morning's briefing. We're going to be back in just a little while at 12 p.m. Korea time with our regular midday news. Bye for now.